What's up, everyone? I am your host, DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka the Kshatri Simp, because Gundam just released its Thickums, and I am excited. Aka, DJ, that's what it is.
I have no words.
Ain't no words needed.
I like how Rolex is next to the next person, but not even.
Hey.
Wow.
It's a bad suit. I'll tell you that right now.
You are
bad.
You are a goddamn menace.
My catchphrase going forward, but DJ just needs to go home and be a family man.
Yeah. You are incorrigible, and you make me sick.
Who are you?
I am your heavyweight champion from Wish Nigga Wood, California, aka the janitor because we watch niggas, aka Mr. Morale, Marcus Ellison.
Oh. Wait, Miles Morale?
Yeah.
I am Sean MF Ross.
What the MF stand for?
Moses Part the Water Fives.
Whoa.
Got them Deacon sixes.
I got these stone tablet 8s. All right. Oh, it'd be stone tablet 10s. There you
go. Oh, God.
Last up.
I'm Avery.
Nailed it. Look at that. With the poise of a gentleman. I like that. All right. Press X, our podcast, is a weekly show where we talk about the latest video game news, review the biggest games, and give you our thoughts on the games we are playing. Our goal is to expand the video game media landscape through an underserved point of view. It's our point of view because we're Black. Happy Pride Month. June's also another month, right? It's Pride and something else. Anyways, happy Pride Month, everyone.
It's June.
It's June?
Juneteenth.
Soon. Juneteenth is soon. Remember, we can't celebrate it yet because we get the one day.
Y'all go get y'all It's the Freedom for Me ice cream from Walmart.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
The worst part, Walmart probably made a Black man do that, right?
Mm-hmm. go design these Juneteenth paper plates and cups.
Do I have to? You want to be famous, don't you?
No, you want to keep your job, don't you? All right. With that being said, Avery, let's jump into the quick hits.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay. How do I broach this? Yeah. So last week, as I try and make sense of the bizarre timeline that we exist in that you were probably hearing this a week after the State of Play, and then probably after the opening night live Summer Games Fest situation.
Oh yeah.
So for us in our time that we exist in, we watched the PlayStation State of Play for June 2nd. Wait, was it 2nd? Yeah, June 2nd. Yeah. We did a live reaction to that. So for the most part, most of our reactions are already there. But it's such a big show that we kind of want to dig into it once more in the postmortem. But before we even start talking about it, Marcus was the only person on this cast right now who wasn't present. So I want to give him the floor to talk about his exact feelings on the State of Play.
Feelings. Oh, feelings.
Not too much, though,
Okay. I won't feel too much on the microphone. Yeah, I really enjoyed the State of Play. My thoughts kind of mirror you guys, where I thought this was probably the strongest State of Play they've ever done. I thought that there were I think it was either Sean or DJ that said that it felt like there was something for everyone, which was impressive, really. I appreciated pretty much everything that I had seen, even if there was stuff that I wasn't going to play. But I was intrigued by pretty much everything. Eternights, am I down bad enough to play Eternights because it's part dating sim? Absolutely. Absolutely. Callisto Protocol, Jesus. Callisto Protocol.
Callisto pedophile.
Is R. Kelly playing in the background?
Oh
in
no,
space?
no, Sean, stop it.
He's that voice in your ear.
Bodies calling.
Oh. Yeah, that.
I'm sorry.
Dead Space, but not. I'll call it that. Looks awesome. The Resident Evil 4 remake. At this point, Capcom's like, we know what we're here for. We know what you're here for. We know what's gonna make us money. Let's do it well. And this is exactly what they're doing. And then the PC ports look cool. And then Street Fighter 6. Look, there was a nigga in that game that beat a nigga's ass with air flares. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. Like, literal breakdance fighting. And then he pinched a man in the throat.
Called it his secret technique.
Secret technique.
Was that, was that sensual?
What more do you need in a video game? Also, the fact that you can just run up on people and initiate a fight indiscriminately. Like, this is everything that niggas been dreaming of.
I don't want to
Hey, where you going?
I want problems.
Just run up on somebody. Bink!
Round
one.
7-Eleven?
You just run up and sneak someone and you're immediately, the life bars just come open.
I was trying to get home to my family.
Nah, you got these hands first. These are your family.
They're just in line at like a street truck and just...
Yo.
My cabbages.
But yeah, I say all that to say State of Play was awesome.
Yeah.
And so I now leave the floor to you guys.
Wait, Final Fantasy 16. What'd you take on Final Fantasy 16, my
right.
guy?
Sorry. Here is the moment where I scream vindication because little do you guys know, we've been having long arguments in our Discord about the fact that Final Fantasy 16 is largely influenced by Devil May Cry. And this game trailer...
DJ, don't even rebuttal. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
You've been proven wrong on at least 2 accounts.
Final Fantasy 16.
No one begrudges you for your opinion, except when you keep bringing it up like you're right.
Final Fantasy 16 is the love child between...
But as Sean says, I only want problems.
He's replaced Cameron on the podcast as the one that's perpetually just ruining shit.
Cameron is busy getting his ass beat by his 2 boys. He can't come with comment.
He's getting jumped by his children.
He's getting jumped.
Oh man.
But fatherhood whooping that man's ass. But yeah, it just looks like the love child between Devil May Cry and Final Fantasy 15. I think that the giant kaiju battles are really interesting and kind of bring something to play that has never really been a thing in Final Fantasy.
We can talk about it more as we go through the thing, but it's very in line with elements of 15 and 13.
Right. Like the way that they present the summons is very 15 and 13, but now that they actually add a certain level of agency to them, I think only makes things more interesting.
I've made this how would I say this? I've made this comparison before, and it seems cat, but stick with me. It's very much the Digimon frontier of Final Fantasy in regards to how the summons operate. Because in most of these games, they've just been things that you deal with. 10 and 13 gave them a little bit more agency as characters and revolve with you. So you can say you can sort of refer to them as the Digimon tamers of the Final Fantasy oeuvre. But this straight up where you are people becoming the Final Fantasy summons, and like as far as we're aware, the summons don't have an ego or sapience of themselves, but are just these people in giant form, is very Digimon frontier. But yeah, so
the year of our Lord 2022, and we're talking about Digimon Frontiers.
I will talk about Frontier and fucking Tamers till the cows go home. Those are the only 2 Digimon that matter.
I will say this one last thing, ask this one last thing. So is the main character supposed to be Ifrit?
There is some
So-
conjecture. There is conjecture about that. My understanding, based on the original trailer, is that, and based on this trailer, is that Ifrit is an unknown third party involved in the conflict, and his showing up and I guess killing Phoenix in their avatar is what prompts the main character to go on his quest for revenge. There is some conjecture that the main character himself is Ifrit, but I'm more in line of the mindset that he's a separate, dominant in altogether, who's able to imbibe
Icon,
the
right?
abilities. Well, icons
Icon.
are what they call the summons. Dominants are what they call the people who can turn into the summons.
Subs and doms.
Oh, the other way around. Okay, all
Kinky.
right, that's fine.
Yeah.
But how does Akon fit into all of this?
He's locked up.
But yeah, so my conjecture is that he's a separate dominant and icon altogether, who's able to imbibe the abilities of the other icons because his entire moveset is based on using those abilities. And unless they do the
It's Mega Man.
Attack on Titan thing where if you devour an icon, you get their power. That's the only way.
It's the crystal, because they show the crystal off one of the first trailers for it. So it's just, I think
I actually think, and go with me on a moment here, I actually think he's a stealth summon, and he's actually Fat Chocobo.
Oh my god! You know what? I like that. We should do. Yeah. I totally support your theory, Marcus. Let me go to the Final Fantasy 16 Reddit. Let me see if
Are they only going to have the large summons then? Because what about
Carbuncle?
In the trailer, the dominant
fucking ferret.
in the trailer, the dominant of Titan gives a long speech about what would happen if he took a field on the battlefield. And one of the cutscenes is the main character in his human form fighting a human-sized version of Titan. So it's very clear that they can take on.
There's multiple levels to it.
Multiple levels of form.
It's they're like Power Rangers.
And if you're talking about
only
the massive summons being summoned entirely, Shiva is human size, but in that trailer, she's the size of Titan. So it's clear that they're exaggerating the size.
Okay, I'm thinking of Carbuncle and
Wait, Shiva's not human size.
Shiva is human size.
Normally he's saying. Normally
Shiva is human size.
Oh, you mean in okay, yeah.
What's the needle? The 1,000 or million needle summon?
Cactar? Well, Cactar is an enemy, so it's less of a summon and more. Cactar is one of those, we don't want to do any more work to make more interesting summons, so let's just put this enemy in there as a summon.
Okay, I wonder if they just have an actually decent looking Carbuncle this time, because in 15 I did not like that look.
Carbuncle was adorable. You take that back.
No, he looked better in Final Fantasy 11. Sorry.
No one played that game.
So here's the big.
Everyone played that game.
Did we? Here's a big rundown of the state of play and everything they showed. They opened up with RE4 Remake, which everyone was convinced was going to be a Last of Us reveal, because they heard the guitar and everyone was like, a little Spanish guitar, and everyone was like, oh man, it's the Last of Us. Little did they know that RE4 took place in fucking Spain. So I immediately clocked that and this is RE4 Remake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you were like, oh, I know what this is. I was like, I don't even. Was there any hints to even figure out to know?
Apparently, they used the same fonts.
Yeah,
when the date came up.
It's the exact same font that RE games have always used.
So
all I know is
the date was like, oh, I know what this is.
My favorite reaction to that was Sean saying that there is a R in Parasite Eve, and I was like, this man.
Yes, a lowercase r. No, this game, I'm a fan of the I'm a fan of the Resident Evil remakes, franchise. Well, I've been a fan of the Resident Evil franchise since 5, which was the first one I played. I know people have problems with 5 and 6.
Really?
But 5 was the first. Oh, yeah. I watched you and Andrew beat 4, and that was back during my period of time where I didn't play a lot of games. So it was 5 was the first one that came out on the modern console that I could actually sit down and play, and I liked it for being a action game. And I've essentially had I've liked all the Resident Evils that have played more action like. I've always wanted to go back to 4, but old game is old, and I'm not going to sit here and play fucking tank controls in the year of our Lord 2022. So,
well, you might have to now.
No, well, it's going to play. It's going to play like 2 and 3 remake, which are very much like they're slow-moving games, but they are more like in terms of your actual mechanical aiming is
More agility, yeah.
more actual purposeful. From what I can tell, they're not calling it remake because they're seeing this as a reimagining. So like, be prepared for like it to take parts
a
of
different
4,
turn.
but
Liberties.
take different turns. Because like I haven't played enough 4 to like tell you, oh, what is this location? What is this location? But a lot of it just look like parts of Resident Evil Village, like the main village.
Well, yeah, that with Village, that was I remember when Village dropped, and a lot of people were like, "Is this an extension of 4, or is this taking place in the same village as 4?" Just because it was the first Resident Evil in a while that had that kind of old timey motif. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some, I guess, possible connectivity. But also, yeah, the end of the trailer was also kind of hinting at there being, I think when Leon was saying, I wish this could have gone a different way or something like that. So that is probably a hint of that.
I hope they don't follow the Final Fantasy VII Remake route of let's just build a game that retcons our entire other game.
You don't want it to end in Kingdom Hearts?
I personally would love for Sephiroth to show up in the middle of the game and we have to fight him. That'd be great.
No. Sephiroth shows up in the middle of the game and gives Leon his sword and say, "Here, you take the mantle. Go kill Cloud."
Trash.
Yeah, I don't, because like with the reimagining stuff, because like there's no meta reason why you could do that if like the Resident Evil franchise has always been fantastical, but it's never been like omniversal powers that defy reality. So it's like it's one of those, it'd be a reach of this is like, I guess, but yeah, because I think what they're trying to do is they're trying. From what I can tell, they're trying to retcon pretty much the majority of the Resident Evil prior catalog to 7, and this really feels like a let's try and steer the franchise into how we got to Village, and have that.
Well,
make sense.
How much did Resident Evil, was it 1 and 2, right? That was the other remakes?
They made
One,
one,
two,
they,
two.
And 3, 1 through 3.
Yeah.
Oh, 3, okay. How much did they change from the original? Was it a lot or?
3 cut out entire sections of Resident Evil 3, the original game. It also has it followed the exact same beat, but has a very different presentation. 2, I think, is the exact same in terms from beat by beat, but once again, it's the exact different presentation that presents things in like different lights in a sense. Yeah.
Okay.
They then showed off a quartet of VR games, starting with the announcement that Resident Evil 4 Remake is going to be VR compatible going forward. They also announced that Resident Evil 8 Village is also going to be VR compatible going forward. They showed
if there was ever a reason for me to get a VR headset, it's that game right there, so I can get picked up and choked out.
Let's to take a minute on Resident Evil 8 Remake, Resident Evil 8 Village. I want to make a point that like it was very interesting to me. They showed nothing else of that game except for the Demonstrate section, which is only 1/3 of the game and the beginning of the game, which is not the part that is most interesting to me to play in VR to me.
I'm just saying they know what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly. Capcom sees the money. They sees the Reddit. They know. They're just like, we don't even need to release all of this, just the Demonstrate part.
They then showed Walking Dead Retribution, Walking Dead colon Saints and Sinners colon Retribution Chapter 2, which
This was surprising because was this like? I mean, again, I think there's something for everyone, but like, I didn't realize that this was a hit to the level of dropping a sequel.
It's. I think it was enough of a hit on VR, and then despite the stock of Walking Dead having fallen over the years, it's still an institution at this point. So,
and it was still It was actually a decent game.
Yeah. Okay.
It just looked
the game was
bland. The game just looked kind of bland to me, like a low budget Dying Light. So it didn't really set the world on fire for me in terms of presentation here. I think it was my least favorite thing I saw at this press conference.
Yeah, and I mean, frankly,
9 out of 10 for the ratings.
Oh,
frankly,
okay. Wow.
Every Walking Dead game that wasn't Telltale based has been whatever. So
yeah, blah.
They then showed off No Man's Sky and said it was coming to PSVR2, which sort of indicates to me that we're not going to get backwards compatibility with PlayStation VR2, which after understanding like how that system is going to function in compared to the old one, legitimately makes sense. It's going to be up to both Sony and the devs themselves to then do the, I guess, hard work to refigure PlayStation VR 1 games to then be PlayStation VR 2 compatible. It's not just going to be a plug and play, oh, this game will work here. It's got different tracking, different controllers.
Yeah, because I've thought about selling mine.
Yeah. And then the final thing they showed off, which was Horizon Call of the Mountain, which was incredibly impressive of a showing in regards to a VR title. It pretty much looked like a slightly down-res Horizon, but in comparison to VR titles as a whole, that looked amazing. I was expecting it to be a on-rail shooter. It looks to be there isn't not. It appears it's not. It's, from what I can tell, it looks relatively linear, but there is exploration and platforming in that situation beyond just combat. So that looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks really good, and I think I will say that I was very much like I actually ended up watching the trailer again because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, okay, cool, it's a VR thing, but I didn't. I guess because I was doing other stuff while it was going, like I wasn't focusing on it. But like since I got a chance to actually focus on it, it's like, oh, this is like there's a lot to do in this game, and I think it's going to be really impressive. Like I'm assuming that this is going to be their like showcase VR or PSVR 2 game.
In a world where we're not confirmed that Half-Life Alyx is going to be on the platform, this seems to be like a good showpiece to say, hey everyone, this is what we're doing. And it also indicates to me that they're going to have a relatively okay pipeline for first-party titles going forward with the Fire Sprite addition to the staple. And then they ended it with one of the lead designers of Horizon Forbidden West coming out and saying, hey guys, surprise update for Forbidden West, where we added a bunch of new features to the game to further improve it and give it a little bit more longevity and remind you that it exists in the world that Elden Ring came out in.
Yeah, I think this was a good move on their part because, as Avery said, Elden Ring took a lot of win from Horizon sales. So for them to just do this, I mean, because there was also talk about there being DLC content from Elden Ring, but I don't ever remember that actually being like talked about from the developer standpoint.
Well, there have outside of maybe Sekiro, all of the From games and Demon Souls, all the From games have had like DLC plans going forward. I think they did talk about DLC for Elden Ring, and there's so much shit you can dig into in that game to be like, okay, this is what we can put some DLC, and there's so much open space here that you can easily shunt a building here and be like, oh, it was always here.
Right. Yeah, so like I think this is good on them. I'll be interested to see if this has any effect, come December and in the Game of the Year talk.
No. But unless God of War comes out and is a certified banger, this is Elden Ring's year. No one's close.
Yeah. What do you mean if?
I'm going to like God of War, but my big fear is God of War is going to fall into the same trap that Horizon Zero Dawn to Horizon Forbidden West did. Was the first game was an amazing game. The second game is going to be an amazing game, but it's just going to be more of the first game.
Yeah.
So in terms
admittedly.
of its only selling point is, okay, narratively, can you top the last game?
Considering what they were exploring or what they were hinting at, I think they could at least match it. We'll see though.
I'm going into this cautious and not like this surely can't go wrong. Yeah, I'm going into that cautious. Next, they revealed that a PlayStation game was coming to PC. We all just assumed it was either going to be Sackboy's Big Adventure and Returnal because both of those games leaked. And to everyone's surprise, it's SpiderMan Remastered, which I think,
SpiderMan.
Which also they came out in the press release afterwards and said Miles Morales is also coming to PC as well. So it's both of those games. So
man, those mods about to go crazy. Man, People about to be playing this Japanese Spider-Man. It's gonna be great.
You'll see Thomas the Tank Engine fucking swinging around.
Just swinging around.
Choo choo.
With George Carlin's voice.
Oh man.
Okay. So after that, they showed off Stray, which is a game I've been hotly anticipating since I'm pretty sure they showed it off in one of the 2 PlayStation early showcases.
Yeah, this was shown a while ago, I think.
Yeah. So it's the sort of the cat simulation game in a cyberpunk robot world. This trailer is only exists to give us a date because we've seen a couple of trailers on how its locomotion and exploration, all that works. So it was just hey, it's coming a date and it's really soon. So, and it was the most interesting thing about this was this is also coming to PlayStation Plus Extra and above, which indicates to me that my big fear is that the PlayStation Essential tier is just going to be gutted after this. Because this is normally the type of game that you would put on PlayStation Plus, and we would get it, and we talk about it as a PlayStation Plus game, but this is going to be a game that's going to be on the Extra tier, which means that we're pretty guaranteed to be an Xbox Live Games with Gold situation going forward.
I think they'll still do the older games that just score well for the Essential, but I feel like they needed to give people a reason to actually upgrade to Extra or Premium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
at least initially.
100% makes sense. But like, it's just one of those things that someone who's going to only be in Essential period, the one not in the same grade. The one cool perk to having PlayStation Plus was every once in a while PlayStation would put on a cool indie third-party game that I would be super interested in. That's like brand new. That like now we're guaranteed not. I guarantee we're never going to get a Fall Guys or a Rocket League like thing going forward in regards to PlayStation Plus Essential.
Oh yeah, which
is sad. After that, we got, to my surprise, the Callisto Protocol, which, if I didn't know Dead Space Remake was coming out a month after they gave this game's release date, which is like December 20th or December 2nd, one of those 2 days, I would just assume that this is a brand new Dead Space game.
Yeah, it's funny because I've from doing my Googles, the Callisto Protocol is actually more akin to the original idea of Dead Space, because the original Dead Space was supposed to take place on a space prison, and they shifted that for the actual Dead Space game. So this actually is probably what they were originally going to make in the first place.
That's interesting. Okay.
Game was great. Cool. Game looks great. Josh Duhamel is a great actor. Great get to have your lead character in this game. So I'm excited for the Callisto Protocol. Though it does seem to have less of the inventiveness of Dead Space, in that, from what I can tell, you're only using traditional weaponry in the game instead of, here's a fucking torch I've somehow manhandled into a fucking energy lance.
Well, I will say, there's less room for MacGyvering because you're kind of on this prison brig, so you're probably just going to be getting weapons that you could find from fallen guards and whatnot. Whereas, with being a miner or basically a space janitor, you kind of had to repurpose tools, which was very amazing. It was really amazing when they did that at the time.
Yeah, he was an engineer, but it looks like in this one you just
Marcus called him a space janitor, which is the exact correct terminology for use for an engineer in space, as quoted by the movie Red Planet,
Red Dawn,
with Val Kilmer.
Oh wow, what a throwback!
What a great audience. I was just saying, hopefully, maybe you can pull out your space shank out your trunk and just go to town.
Nah, they'd better allow you to find like a spoon or something on the ground and sharpen it.
And do what?
This is my stabbing spoon.
Shank people. It's prison.
And they're not people. They're monsters.
You should be able to hide something in your butt.
Don't have
it's 2022. They're people as well
who don't have human anatomy.
Listen, sir, calm that down, all right? Trying to get us canceled in space.
Canceled in space? What's wrong?
Damn well you're the first person to get us canceled in space.
So I trying to take my opportunities. I'm just a young black man trying to stay off the street.
Anyway, the next game they showed off was RollerDrome, which is a cool, very cool looking indie game, which essentially is a extreme sports game show shooter, which looks fun. This ish.
Yeah.
I was looking back at it again. It looks like, okay, with Tony Hawk, when you're landing, I play a lot of Tony Hawk. You have to like land a certain way to not bust your ass when you're coming back down on ramps. This looks like it just automatically does it for you. So
yeah.
Well, this is a game that has 15 things going on at once.
I get it.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I just was saying, I just want to see a clip of somebody trying to do a trick and, trying to shoot at somebody and they fall and bust their ass and, maybe shoot themselves.
What the real experience will be like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I also watched the trailer again because when I first watched it, I was like, oh, this is cool, but I didn't really think of it too much because like, okay, what's next? But looking at it, as Sean says, it looks really cool in terms of you're doing tricks and you're shooting people. My only hesitation is I think this is going to live and die by how it plays because from Tony Hawk, from Riders Republic, from SSX, like any of the like extreme sports games, all of the buttons are being used for like managing yourself and doing tricks. So to also strap on like third-person shooter mechanics or controls onto this, it's kind of like, is it a thing where you do the tricks and then you have to just like move the camera towards the person and then like there's like a snapshot that happens?
It's unique between all those games you've mentioned. This is a game about roller skates.
Well, yeah.
And like, there's not, as far as I can tell, I'm not to harp on the BMX, the extreme sports, the X Games crowd. Like, like you're not, the amount of tricks you can quote unquote do on roller skates is relatively limited. I guess in the grand scheme of what all those other things you're talking about, where it's like you and the actual vehicle of conveyance are two separate entities. So it's like,
well, I will say the like a long time ago, there was a game, Aggressive Inline, which was like a rollerblade game. So it worked very much so like Tony Hawk because
you can do from what I can tell in those type of games, you can do flips, you can do spins, and then you can do like
grab tricks and stuff.
Grab tricks and stuff, but in a game where you're holding something in your hand while doing it, that doesn't seem like it's a possibility. My only qualm about this game and why I'm like mixed on it is it just looks slow.
Well, I think this will live and die by the next time we see this game because I think by that time it might be like maybe part of another state of play where it's like, oh look, here's some more gameplay of this and it's like an actual UI and stuff so we can see how the game actually functions. Although I will say shout out to the developers because they were watching the state of play and like one of the developers recorded herself watching the game that she worked on like on the state of play and she got really excited. So
they're the Ali World devs, so like they already know what to do when it comes to extreme sports and tricks. So like that's not the part of the game I'm like, oh, I have an issue with in terms of like the tricking. For me it's more like the just general locomotion of you on roller skates moving relatively slow-ish. After RollerDrome, they showed Eternights, which I was like, this just looks like a Chinese knockoff of a Persona game. And I found out after the fact. Yeah, exactly that. I found out after the fact that not only is it not, the creator was a guy who played Persona 4, went back and played Persona 3, then played Persona 5 and said, fuck it, I quit my job and I'm going to make a Persona game. And so this is a small studio ingrown American-bred Persona game. So it does have that slightly, I'm going to make a deep cut quote to an old Xbox game, Sadeki feel of this is someone's Western interpretation of an Eastern aesthetic going on. But the game seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm exactly in the point of my life where I'm down bad enough to just play it because it's part dating sim. I don't even care about the action. Also, I can't be the only person that thought after he got his arm chopped off
you weren't
immediately about masturbation. Like just immediately. I was just
I didn't
I
go
wonder
there.
if he could do that with that weird.
I think I'm more down bad than you in real life, but even I didn't go down that route.
Well,
because like there was a
I
quick
told you
scene
all
where it
this
was
in
like
confidence, and I was left out dry.
When he says
well, there
all
was
of you,
a
he means our listeners as well.
there was
What
a
listeners?
quick scene where the arm was just like a tentacle, and I was like, all right,
Tentacle
okay,
born.
right. Literally, it's like the Green Lantern powers. It could be anything.
So, for me, what was sort of like the most interesting standout of the entire press conference was them showing off Street Fighter 6. And
Woo!
that game looking aesthetically amazing, doing interesting, mechanically looking way different than the last couple Street Fighters in regards to how the game looks and feels and all the individual systems that they put in. The game's choice of aesthetic in regards to, oh, we're gonna actually play on the streets of Street Fighter as an actual thing. The fact that it's set in Metro City, which it's set in Metro City and seems to have a Final Fight adventure mode in there, also dope. And then my fingers crossed, because there's nothing to be confirmed, that this game takes place after Street Fighter 3, which means finally we can go forward in the Street Fighter timeline and shit can actually happen to characters.
Well, considering how old and disheveled Ryu looks, and the fact that Chun-Li is officially a MILF, I'm assuming that time has actually progressed.
Yeah.
Assuming.
Yeah. Well, okay. Here's a definite here's the unconfirmed confirmed of why I think this is actually taking place after 3. In that, in one of these Street Fighter in Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, Chun-Li had this kid named Lai Ren with her that she was sort of taking care of. And then in, I want to say, Street Fighter 5 or 4, at some point, that's where her Lai Ren's first appearance shows up in, and she's like some kid being manipulated by the Shadow Lu, and Chun-Li takes her in. And then in this trailer, Chun-Li's fighting with a teenage girl, and I'm just making the broad assumption that is Lai Ren, and not, as many people weirdly say, Sakura. And so I'm making that assumption.
Like Sakura wouldn't be that young.
Yeah.
Once again, the Street Fighter timeline is fucked.
Also, what if
and as a story that came after this is from Kotaku.com, Street Fighter 6 looks like Street Fighter 6 entire roster may have already leaked. Every character got a redesign for this game, and it's a fire redesign. It's very much in line with the later redesigns of the Street Fighter 5 game, instead of just being, we took the Street Fighter 4 models and altered them a bit and gave Ken a bad haircut, instead of, no, we're going to change how every one of these characters fundamentally...
You didn't like the man bun for Ken?
No, I think Ken's... He's just weird. It's just a weird aesthetic look for Ken. Especially when they did absolutely nothing to Ryu.
Oh yeah, I do remember this this change for him. I was like, oh.
What if Luke is Ken's son?
Oh my gosh, that would make sense.
It can't be because he's in Street Fighter 5, and unless there's some weird like, oh, he's from the future. He's the last character they introduced in Street Fighter 5.
Well, I mean,
I forgot so much about Street Fighter 5
and spin in the air.
Wait, what?
Okay, so the returning characters from the Street Fighter franchise are Ryu, Ken, who is sporting a very grungy, go home and be a family man look, which I think is, if you're not going to do Ken in the traditional martial arts gi, I think is a very cool King of Fighters-esque Terry Bogard, Garou, Mark of Wolves-esque look to give him.
Come on.
Zangief, who they didn't really do much changing to Zangief. He just put him on pants now, which is like, I'm happy about.
What?
About time.
Ew. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Hey man, his legs have been cold for the longest. All right.
You can't deny those thighs.
Dulcine's returning. He's retaining the old man Dulcine with full beard look. Edward Honda is also returning in a more Yokozuna look for a sumo wrestler. Blanc is here. Not really much of a change, except he's legitimately like just wearing like shorts and not like a ragged pants, and he's got a bandana. Guile, who has a very interesting, he has a Air Force like flight suit Top Gun-esque look right now. Not much change with Guile. Chun-Li, we've talked about. She's in her I'm a 40-year-old mother now look, and I'm gonna say it, this is my favorite look for Chun-Li outside the Street Fighter outfit look for her. Like I love the kapow and pantyhose as much as the next guy, but like that's an old ass dated look that like that this is
as long as you can still see them gams, then I'm all for it.
Yeah. And then Cammy's returning as well, and they put her out of the leotard, and now she's in athleisure.
Mm-hmm. She's wearing Lululemon.
She's wearing Lululemon.
DJ has returned in a surprising resurface of a Street Fighter character.
I made it. Don't I look like him? Hold on. Wampum.
Do the giant smile.
Rashid from Street Fighter V is returning, and his new design is really cool. Like his old one was just like this weird techno Arab design. This one is a more like it's already on a touchy. Yeah, I know we're already on a touchy subject, and like I'm not gonna touch on culture aspects of his new design. Jury is returning.
She's dressed like Moon Knight.
Kind of, yeah. That dude in Moon Knight. Jury's return, and she's in an outfit that's more reminiscent of her Street Fighter 4 original appearance. Edward from Street Fighter 5 is also... Wait, is his name Edward? Ed? Yeah, I think his name is Ed from Street Fighter 5's return. And he's got a less I'm a Nazi look to him, which works. And then Akuma is returned, and they did a great redesign of the Street Fighter 5 look and making it look more awesome.
So he has even more hair now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there are, I believe, 8 brand new characters that are going to be part of this roster. There's Luke, we've already talked about. There's Jamie, who is the young and yang representation for this game, but he's combining drunken boxing with breakdance fighting, so that's cool.
That nigga's going to be a menace in tournaments.
There is this absolute unit of a woman named Marissa, who seems to be a Roman-inspired MMA fighter.
Did you say Orisa?
Marissa.
No,
Marissa.
Oh, I was about to be like,
wait a minute.
There's
shine your eyes.
There's a French judo fighter who's very reminiscent from Abel from Street Fighter 4 named Mimi, who I think she has a great design, but she out of restraining, like I think there's certain elements of design where I'm like, you should probably you're too horny for this. You're too horny for this. Why her judo pants have cutouts where you can see her panties? Like, why would you do that?
Maybe it's from fighting.
Then they have a character named Lily, who's this Mexican fighter who appears to. There's this weird Mexican sport that Aztec X sport that from Road to El Dorado that immediately I got flashbacks for when I saw her design, when she has the 2 like clubs in her hands. So that's cool. Yeah. JP, who's this old Russian guy who probably has the most boring design of everything, but nonetheless is a cool character. Kimberly, who appears
he looks like one of the characters from King of Fighters. I don't remember his name.
Yeah. Yes, probably. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Then there's Kimberly, who appears to be Street Fighter's first black female character going forward. She's from America. She has a very urban aesthetic. So let's go from there. We'll see what
hip hop.
We'll see what she is. And then the most interesting character of this redesign is this character named AKI, who is a Chinese cyborg assassin character, who I think is a really dope design. But yeah, Street Fighter 6 is lit. I'm excited for it. I'm probably gonna.
Yeah.
If
I think this was like probably like the biggest pop for the show, because everyone was expecting Final Fantasy 16, which we're about to talk about. But like this was like, oh my god, this looks great, and like, oh my god, like there's a adventure mode. Like, what's going on? And before we jump, I just want to say, like, I think for me, like aesthetically, this hits on all cylinders for me, because I am a sucker for an urban aesthetic. I am a sucker for hip hop in video games, and like everything in this just looks beautiful. And I'm not even a Street Fighter person. Like, I'm a Tekken person through and through. But like, I definitely feel like I'm gonna have to become a Street Fighter person, because there's no way I'm not gonna be playing this game.
Yeah, this shit looks lit.
Yeah. They showed off Tunic, which was a game that was released on Xbox Game Pass, I want to say last year or early this year. So yeah, if you're into that type of game, check it out. It's already been out for a while, so there's so much coverage on it. This is just telling, hey, it's coming to PlayStation this year. Then they showed off Season, a game that's been sort of MIA since they had creator turmoil at their studio. And I think it's now very clear to me that this is a game about the apocalypse, which is even more interesting.
Yeah.
It looks like a Miyazaki movie in game form.
Yeah.
So you can't really say that because they made those games. They're called the Ni no Kuni games. Now they're full of NFTs.
You know what I mean, though. You know what I mean, though.
And then they wrapped up everything with Yoshi P from the Final Fantasy team, saying like, "Hey guys, we're still working on Final Fantasy 16. We're actually ahead of schedule, so we're going to have a lot to show you this summer. But here's our brand new trailer for Final Fantasy 16. And like in a world that Street Fighter 6 didn't show off anything, this would be my big pop of the moment kind of a thing."
Yeah.
Though we did kind of already at the beginning of our talks for the Game Fest or we already kind of talked about it. So
yeah. But yeah, it just it looked amazing. Like I think for me, looking at this trailer, and this trailer holds up into the actual game and it's consistent, this will be the best looking game to date for consoles. Like without competition. Well, we haven't seen God of War. So I don't know. We'll see.
You're also getting a world where Horizon exists, because my big thing with the environments of this game is going to look great because of their great particle effects in regards to these Creative Business Unit 3, which is the studio who's making this game. Which, come on, Square, give them personality there. Don't just put a flame decal there and say it's a fucking game studio. But
business.
It does have a very great old school RPG aesthetic, which we'll see how it like translates to the actual game itself. And that was
like, just in comparison with the Horizon thing. Like right now, Horizon for me is the best looking game on console to date. I think the only difference between Horizon and Final Fantasy is that Final Fantasy has a very detailed aesthetic, and I think in my eye that would push it over Horizon, because Horizon is also detailed but it's also chunky at the same time, which I actually prefer from a style wise. But
what do you mean by chunky?
Chunky in terms of, I think if you were to take the best screenshot of Horizon and the best screenshot of Final Fantasy 16 and you zoom in, you're gonna have more details in Final Fantasy versus Horizon. That makes sense.
I think the exact opposite, but we can move forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so that was the state of play. We all enjoyed it. I hope
it was amazing.
We're all looking forward to the further Summer Game Fest stuff. Our next story here is there was a Pokemon Scarlet and Violet reveal in regards to the future Pokemon games, where they reaffirmed the date for those games. I'm gonna let everyone else speak about this because like I have no real thoughts about these games as they are right now. I definitely need to see more of what type of experience is going to be, because the things they outlined in the trailer, which is that, hey, it's going to have multiplayer co-op and there are going to be different professors per game, and it seems to be operating on the axis of this game is going to be past versus future in regards to design and aesthetic. That's all cool and everything, but those don't really interest me in regards to Pokemon.
Right. I will just go ahead and jump, and like I played a good chunk of Pokemon Legends. I didn't beat it. I did like the gameplay of that, and I thought that with some tweaks, like that could be a really cool system going forward for playing Pokemon, especially if you have been playing pretty much all the Pokemon before this, and you were getting kind of tired and bogged down by that whole like process. This is definitely going to be a step in the right direction. I think the trailer itself looked great. They showed the 3 starters. They look cool. I'm still going to pick Donald Duck because my name is Donald, and that's how I'm going to do.
And y'all got the same pompadour.
Yes, but I think this is going to, for anyone who played Legends and was like, this is okay, but this isn't where I want Pokemon to be. I think Scarlet and Violet is going to be that game, and I'm wanting to see more of the environments. Like Avery and I had, I guess Avery and us, we had a conversation about the cool stuff that was in Sword and Shield that wasn't in Legends, and I think they are going to bring that cool stuff, that cool aesthetic back into Scarlet and Violet. And also they showed the legendary Pokemons and they looked dope as fuck. And I'm guessing you can ride the Pokemons now because someone put out a fan art of one of the Pokemon.
One of them is
in a
clearly
motorcycle.
one of them clearly looks like a motorcycle. One of them clearly looks like a hover bike. So like,
or a penis, as I've seen online.
Damn the internet!
I'm keeping my ears to the streets.
He said it's so serious too. But yeah, I mean, that's Pokemon in Scarlet. The last thing I will say about that is that what's this dude name? Turo, the zaddy of the Pokemon professors. That man is going to be an icon. That's all I'm going to say. He's going to be an icon.
There's fan art being made as we speak.
As we speak.
As someone who
my camera, but I'm not going to. As we speak.
We'd somehow get demonetized and we don't even make money from this yet. I would say that as someone, I won't say much, but as someone who is not a Pokemon game fan, or at least hasn't been since I was like young and had a Nintendo, like a Game Boy Advance or whatever. This trailer was something that actually piqued my interest in a way that I haven't had my interest piqued for Pokemon in a while, and made me actually consider possibly getting a Switch for this. It looks like it will be, I feel like it'll be a pretty cool gateway for lapsed Pokemon fans. And also, last thing I'll say is Lechonk is going to be, if I get this game, Lechonk is going to be my main Pokemon. Might be the only Pokemon I catch.
Here's your 10 Pokemon. I don't need the Pokeballs. I'm good.
I said Lechonk.
Lechonk can be started.
But yeah, that's Pokemon.
Okay,
what's next, Avery?
Next is this story only exists because I really legitimately like this anecdote. So this is from VGC. This is from Chris Scullion. Take-Two boss warns it may not end well for companies betting on blockchain-based metaverses.
Yeah.
Strauss Zelnick says he doesn't believe the word metaverse means guaranteed success. This is an interesting story of one of the biggest video game corporations and one of the few who are not making inroads into blockchain NFTs like, say, a Ubisoft and a Square Enix. We're pretty much saying that, like, we're as far as I'm aware of, we're not doing any of that right now because there's not enough proven success to make it worth it for us to do. And why experiment on this thing that, as of this day, had a massive financial crash?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if you just do a normal, like, or a quick NFT Google, you're just going to get bad news. Like, this is unproven technology, and it's weird to see so many companies just throw money at this, and the fan base is like,
get rich
we don't even want this. Yeah, it's crazy.
And the issue to that is, if you in your heart and heart believe that NFTs are the future, tell people why they're good, and don't just bandy out the same fucking bandy out the exact same fucking talking points of you get to own your content. Yeah, until your online service ends, and I can't take that shit anywhere because it requires everyone to adapt into it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What if I forget my my key? What then?
Yeah, what happens if someone steals my key?
Gone. Exactly.
And then
Seth Farland? No, Seth Green.
Seth Green,
He was doing an NFT show.
Stupid
anyways.
Yeah. And then the final story is just a bit of a laugh, and I'm gonna call some people out on this because they're cowards. IGN got the official first for Sonic Frontiers, a game that I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think Sonic is a bad franchise. I thought a majority of the Sonic games are garbage, and from the very beginning, so I was never going to be the target audience for this. But there is a little bit of vindication that IGN got their first trailer. They got their first for it, which is for the next month. IGN is just going to have exclusive content for Sonic. They showed off the first 2 gameplay sections for this game, and they look like absolute ass. So much ass.
It looked like fan made.
So much ass that our good friend Jordan, he put this on his fantasy list, and I counterpicked it immediately when I saw it. And then as of today, June 4th, he has dropped that game.
Wise choice, Jordan. Wise choice.
I'll do it myself in a heartbeat.
Coward.
I still want to play it.
You Godspeed.
So I think there's good and there's potential in that game, in Sonic being open world. I just don't think the developers are capable of getting to there, because what they've shown, one, is boring, and for this to be the first showing of Sonic Frontiers, and people are questioning oh, this looks like it's fan made. Sega, this is your pride and joy. What are you doing? Drop the money and put this in Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi. Do those things. This is not working. This is just not working.
The only way for Sonic open world to work is for them to actually lean into the purpose of the character, which is speed. And I've actually been in agreement with Avery about Sonic being a bad franchise, pretty much, because it is built. The games are built in a way that is not conducive to the point of Sonic.
Yes.
The only way you can go fast in Sonic is if you have really good muscle memory. Outside of that, it's a whole lot of stop and start. And I understand
the flip side. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say and I can understand them wanting to explore a character like Sonic in an open world setting, but yet again, they just don't know how to properly do it with this character.
Yeah. To your point about the Sonic locomotion and the stop and start, one of the things I have liked about the 3D iterations of Sonic is the minute they switched the camera to being behind him and gave you full view of in front of you, it changed the game in regards to, this is what it means to move fast. And I've super enjoyed Sonic games like Adventure and Adventure 2, and to a certain extent, even Sonic Heroes, where they've sort of had a focus on, when you're playing as Sonic, we have built roller coasters for you, where your entire objective is to just go fast down this path. And those have been relatively fun until they get to those weird platforming sections where you gotta fucking stop and jump on these fucking robots to get to another area. But
there's the thing is, what bothers me is that I like Sonic. I grew up on Sonic, so to see Sonic in such a state now is just it's so disappointing. And just I'm a daytime game developer, right? So I've dabbled, and looking at Sonic, the two ways that I see it working is if they treat a game sort of like what Avery just said, as a roller coaster, and do almost like a SSX thing, where it's just a giant world for you to exist in, and you just go fast, and you can do tricks, you can dodge things, you can hit things to keep your combo or whatever going. That could be a cool thing. If they make Sonic into a extreme sport, for lack of better words, right? Or the other
that's what
side,
I was thinking too. Yeah.
Yeah, the other side, if they switch it up and they're trying to make Sonic an RPG, existing in this open world, like Zelda or whatever, treat the speed like slow-mo. So instead of you going super fast, you're able to control your area around you, and you're able to dodge stuff. I think Returnal actually does a really good job of being a Sonic game in terms of it's a bullet hell in a way, and you're dodging stuff. So you combine that with Sonic, it could be a better game than what they showed here. It's just like, why is this the thing that they ended up with? Like, I would hate to see what the other prototypes was to get to this.
To be fair, this is what we get when they have made a series of bad games over and over and over again and not made any and had no real successes, and then just decided we're going to pivot.
Yeah.
Like,
true,
this isn't,
very
this
true.
isn't like, and like this is what's sort of not even frustrating because I don't care, and I'm actually reveling in how bad this game looks because it kind of just proves me right. But it's like the open world looks boring, barren, and dumb looking. So that's number one. I'm not even talking about how it looks. I'm just talking about the way it's designed. These squiggly lines in the air randomly in your open world with no real reason for why they exist other than, oh, it's a Sonic game.
Yeah.
There's bizarre platforming sections. And then let's not even talk about Sonic's own locomotion, which is to the point of it gotta go fast. He doesn't seem to be going that fast. And then he doesn't. And then getting.
He's jogging.
Yeah. And then, like, oh, he gets to the air and he has, like, this weird kick move so he can maintain momentum. I'm like, what kind of bullshit is this?
Yeah.
And then even in the gameplay, when he does like a combo, the camera switches to some weird angle, and then he does like, and it's like,
which is
y'all need to be fired. Like
he's a remnant of the old 3D Sonics, and like when you get into those, like, oh, his momentum is carrying him, so we can take control away from the character and like give you a cool cinematic experience for that, which is fine. And I'm not even talking about the combat.
At this point, they might as well just bring back the homie Shadow with his Glocks and just make a shooting game. Just do it.
I mean, call it RollerDrome, you know. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of heartbreaking because the devs aren't blind. And they're going to see this reaction, and they know that this is not a good game.
They need the same people who listen to the crowd for the Sonic.
Well, no, here's the problem: it doesn't matter if they know it's a bad game. Despite Sonic games being universally bad for ages, they still sell well enough for them to keep making the same dumb mistakes over and over again.
That's what I'm saying. Like Sega is perfectly fine because they know they're going to make money because people are just going to buy it because of Sonic. But like the people who are making this game and doing their best to make something playable out of what they have is just like, that has to be crap, or that has to be hell for them.
Also, just the mileage. Before we move on, the mileage that the character of Sonic has gotten for so long is fascinating. Because it's not even like he's a deep
bad game.
No, I'm talking about the character. Like
Avery's like, it's a bad game.
This is Morbius right now, guys.
Like, I'm talking about the character though, because it's not even like he's particularly an interesting or engaging character. He's just a blue hedgehog that likes chili dogs and going fast. Yeah, very 90s.
Isn't even from the game. Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah,
I will say hindsight is 2020 because I think when Sonic first appeared and when he was in his prime, like I loved him. Like I thought he was cool. He was very 90s, and I think his character just doesn't evolve well. Because it is.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say like the fact that it's persisted for so long. Because I get why he was big back then, but in 2022 and he's still such a big deal. That's wild.
It's the Morbius effect. It's like this product
is Morbin
bad,
time.
but it's such a fucking meme. It just exists even though it's so bad. Like, and to that point about Sonic as a personality thing, I think I've been on record on this many iterations of the show of how my feelings of Sonic have evolved from as a child. Where like I played those games as kids and like hated them then. I'm like, this isn't fun. I'll go back to playing Mario because at least in Mario the platforming makes sense to me. And then
see, that's the thing. Like, I never liked platforming in Mario. Like, that was one thing that I could never wrap my head around.
Yeah, and then I watched the shit out of the Saturday morning cartoons. Like, Sonic Underground is one of the most underrated Sonic shows of all time in terms of like this is the quintessential of what a Sonic's personality is, where he is in a punk rock band with his punk rock sister and brother.
Yeah, Sonic Underground slap.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that has been our hefty quick hits. This has been our excellent A-class Press X to Start podcast. I just rhymed class with cast because I am a hip-hop wizard. We hope you enjoyed the episode as much as we enjoyed making it. Don't forget to rate us in your favorite podcast. I almost said hashtag / your favorite YouTube channel, which is the Press X to Start podcast / Press X to Start YouTube channel. So if you haven't, make sure you go there and you hit that subscribe button, because we are close to 100 subscribers, and if we hit 100 subscribers, we get to be white for like 24 hours. So that'd be really cool, and we plan on using that privilege very well.
If we get 100 subscribers, you know how when you get 1 million subscribers, you get like a platinum YouTube plaque? We will get a plastic one.
That's actually the 1,000. We just get a paper clip that says YouTube.
We get Clippy from Microsoft Office.
Right?
We get a refrigerator magnet.
You guys are trying. There you go.
Right? But make sure you be good. Keep watching Summer Game Fest, because that is going to be great, and we will be continuing talking about that. So make sure you come to us for all the latest in the Summer Game Fest updates. Be safe and have fun. Take care. Bye.
Uno out.